So next up, podcast listeners, California prisoners get free money. So let's say that again. California prisoners get free money. So if you're in prison in California, you're getting checks. How? Guess how? Well, the California prisoners, thousands and thousands of them, have received unemployment checks. Unemployment checks. How have they done that? Because the California inmates have filed unemployment claims. So let me get this straight. You're in prison. You aren't working because by definition you're in a cell, so you can't work. And you decide, you know what? I'm going to file an unemployment claim. So you file an unemployment claim against the state of California, and then they send you a check. So here's ABC News 7 in the San Francisco Bay Area talking about this very issue. We have a clip on that, and here it is.
$1 billion worth of unemployment benefits now in the pockets of tens of thousands of inmates across the state. To give you an idea of the type of criminals cashing in, Scott Peterson was one of the names used.
It involves rapists and child molesters, human traffickers, and other violent criminals in our state prisons.
From March to August, 35,000 claims have been filed in the name of California state prison inmates. This includes 133 inmates currently on death row. To put it in perspective, 20,000 of those claims have been paid since August, amounting to $140 million.
So can you imagine? So actually the number apparently is closer to a couple of $1 billion. That's at least what the state of California thinks. That is the amount of money that they have sent to people in prison. $2 billion in the form of unemployment checks. You know, people that can't work, they're getting unemployment checks, and they're in prison. So even Scott Peterson. So remember Scott Peterson? Scott Peterson, if you don't recall, he's the convicted murderer who is currently incarcerated in San Quentin State Prison. In 2004, Scott Peterson was convicted of first-degree murder of his pregnant wife, Lacey Peterson, and second-degree murder of their unborn son, Connor, in Modesto, California. Even Scott Peterson received an unemployment check, a convicted murderer who not just killed his wife, but his pregnant wife, and then threw her, I think, in a body of water or something like that. I'm not really sure. I don't recall. But he got a check as well. So if that isn't bad enough in California, even death row inmates receive unemployment benefits. So even when you're on death row in California, you figure, why not? I'm going to apply for unemployment. And they received checks from the state as well. Here's Stephen Wagstaff of the San Mateo District Attorney's Office talking about this very issue. We have that clip, and here it is.
The San Mateo County DA's office was one of the first to uncover this fraud scheme in California, where 21 inmates, including these 8 at a Redwood City Correctional Facility, were charged for defrauding the state out of $250,000 worth of unemployment benefits.
We figured, it's probably in some other county jails too. But to find out that it's a theft of hundreds of millions going throughout our state prison, going to death row even, that has to stop that.
Can you believe that? So these are guys on death row, and you saw the picture of them. If you're listening, of course you heard it, but if you're watching the video of this podcast, you can see the convicted murderers. Between them, they got $250,000 of unemployment benefits. And these benefits, by the way, are paid into by companies in California. And the companies pay this unemployment insurance premium to the state of California on probably a monthly basis. And when they do, and sometimes it's a quarterly basis, and they do so as to have a fund that is flush with cash when there is just such an emergency, such as a large recession or a pandemic. But apparently there were no checks and balances in place in the state of California to stop these inmates from getting unemployment checks. So we have Sacramento County District Attorney Anne Marie Schubert. She explains the problem and how this all happened in California, the mix-up which has caused all of these prisoners to get this free money. Notice that at the end of this clip, State Senator Scott Wiener gives his solution. Scott Wiener is a state senator from the San Francisco area. We'll talk about him in a minute. So we have that clip, and here it is.
Right now, there is no cross-matching between the incarceration data and EDD on a routine basis like it's being done in 35 other states.
An issue 9 district attorneys across the state voiced in a letter to the governor requesting help on the urgent matter. State Senator Scott Wiener agrees it must be a priority.
We need to take a look at why we're not cross-referencing. If there is a statute that prevents them from cross-referencing, clearly that has to be.
So the state district attorneys, the district attorneys of the various counties have written a letter to the governor explaining, that the left hand has to talk to the right hand. In order for that to work, basically, that's the only way you're going to stop prisoners from getting checks. So State Senator Scott Wiener wants to present his way of fixing it. This is the same state senator in California that put forward a bill that ended up passing that allows adult men to have sex with minors. Let me say that again. Scott Wiener, the guy that you just saw, he apparently is like the go-to guy for the media there when they're like, oh, let's have Scott Wiener solve it. I mean, after all, he's the one that wants to legalize adult men having sex with children. I mean, what is happening in California? So that's California prisoners get free money.